1 year ago today, I started this channel after a coworker had nagged me so much that I finally agreed to start one. But I told myself that if I was going to do this, I was going to do it my way, with two things I actually really enjoy: playing video games and making cocktails. A big reason I started this channel was to play new games, make new drinks, and see if I could entertain people along the way with incredibly sophisticated, highbrow humor and a razor-sharp wit that manifests itself in my content on alternating Thursdays. Since I started this channel, I've played some pretty stunning and life-changing games. But for this video, I want to direct your attention to the past and my top 5 favorite games of all time that I played before this channel came about, as well as my top 5 go-to cocktails that are among my favorite. So with that probably too lengthy exposition out of the way, and viewer attention completely sunk, let's get to it. Coming in at the 5th spot for both game and cocktail, we have Elden Ring and the improved whiskey cocktail. Now, before the Souls community tears me apart, I need to be crystal clear about this. I adore Elden Ring. If it weren't for the top spots holding more nostalgia and memories for me, it would easily be in the top 3. This game is a masterpiece. The boss fights are some of my favorite of all time: Malekith the Black Blade, Malenia, Chadfree, Radagon of the Golden Order, Mesmer, and so many more. The level designs are great. The enemy variety is vast and well made. The setting and pieces are gorgeous. The music is transcendent and the story is fantastic. So bartender, why isn't it higher on the list? I'm glad you asked, viewer. It's because it's too big. Sometimes I just want to throw on a game, fight some bosses quickly, have a great time, and not be too hung up on analysis paralysis. Even with Torrent, it takes a long time to get to certain areas, and then getting through those areas takes a while with so much stuff in between, and I got ADHD, so I'm constantly going different places. It's a treat, to be sure, but it's like a rich dessert. A few bites is enough to suffice for a while. Sometimes I don't want to sink hours upon hours into it just to get to one boss fight and then putting hours again into the game just to get to the next boss fight. And yes, there are tons of side bosses and field bosses and mini area bosses, but those aren't the fun kind, like the big remembrance bosses, or smaller but major bosses like Godskin Apostle, Lich Dragon Fortisax, or a slew of other great ones. When all is said and done, Elden Ring is a masterpiece of a game that if I'm going to hop on again, I need to be ready to sink days and days of my time into it. And more often than not, that's just not what I'm always up for. Transitioning as well as a car transitions down a cliff, let's talk about the improved whiskey cocktail. Quick spoiler alert for everyone, all 5 of my top favorite cocktails are all stirred drinks, and that's because I'm a lazy son of a bitch. The reason this one is on the bottom of my list is because it's a little more labor intensive than the others, but not by much. The improved whiskey cocktail is a very old drink, and the title of improved doesn't necessarily mean it's better than others. That's not really what it means. The term improved came about in American mixology in the late 1800s, and refers to European ingredients like maraschino liqueur and absinthe being added into already existing American cocktails to enhance and add flavor. It was first seen in Jerry Thomas's 1862 book, The Bartender's Guide. And this is how I like to make the drink. 1 dash of Peychaud's bitters, 1 dash of Angostura bitters, 3 dashes of cardamom bitters, 2 bar spoons of a maraschino liqueur, 1/4 of an ounce of syrup. Any syrup will do, but a normal simple syrup will do great, and 2 ounces of bourbon or rye whiskey. Stir with ice in a separate mixing glass for 20 to 30 seconds. And in a double rocks glass, get a large rock of ice, rinse the glass with absinthe sprays, and then pour off the finished drink, give it a spritz of lemon oil on the top, and enjoy. Sipping on this drink is a wonderful experience, just like Elden Ring. The first few sips are rich and bold with caramel and vanilla notes from the bourbon, with mild cherry almond notes from the maraschino. The simple syrup makes it sweet for the first few sips, but this is a drink you want to enjoy for an extended period of time. As the ice melts, the flavors change with it. Towards the end of the drink, you get more notes from the bitters, the anise of the Peychaud's, baking spices of Angostura, and of course, deep spice of cardamom. It is a wonderful drink that honestly would be a little bit higher on the list if it weren't as easy to make as the others. The number 4 spots for my game and cocktail goes to one I doubt anyone would have expected me to pick: Sid Meier's Civilization V, and the cocktail, the Bijou. I know, right? The guy who loves action, adventure, challenging Souls-like games, hack and slash. I also love turn-based strategy games. Well, not really, but hear me out, because there's a very good reason for this one. I have the most hours on this game than any other game in my Steam library, maybe combined. The reason for this is very simple: playing with my friends. I have so many fond memories of this game with my friends. Role-playing exaggerated accents, pretending that we're world leaders with civilians and cities to command, pretending how slighted we are over land disputes with AI and with each other, waxing poetic about the AI players' decisions, forming hilarious alliances based on practically nothing. Hours upon hours of this, memories to cherish. The gameplay loop is pretty satisfying too. For those who've played, we've all been there when you're a few turns away from building a world wonder, and then the next turn your other city's about to create another settler, so you're like, oh, just one more turn, which is of course a lie, and then it's been hours. Once you understand the complexity of the game, it is addicting. The amount of times I've started a game, made it 200 turns in, and then start a new game, it's like starting new characters in Skyrim every time you turn on the game. The point is, memories with friends, how much fun I have to look back on, and a solid gameplay loop lands Civilization 5 in a top spot for me. My fourth favorite cocktail is the Bijou, a 3-ingredient gin cocktail that sadly is very difficult to make nowadays. Let me explain. Bijou translates to jewel in French, and mostly because that's kind of how it looks in the glass. There are 3 ingredients: gin, sweet vermouth, and green or yellow chartreuse. And therein lies the problem: chartreuse. Chartreuse is a rich herbal liqueur made by French Chartrusian monks in France. Okay, yeah, sure. Why did I write that in the script? Oh well. In 2019, the monks announced they would be limiting their production of the liqueur to 2 to 3 million bottles per year. The world population is currently 7 billion people. 2 to 3 million versus 7 billion. That math ain't mathin'. And with the recipe being a total secret, only these two people on the planet know how to make it. It naturally led to a massive decline in availability. People have made replicas of it, but they're not as good and way more expensive than the usual bottles are. This makes the Bijou a not so easily accessible cocktail, as even if chartreuse does come to your region, do you really want to have to drop the money to grab a bottle of it? Likely not. That being said, it is a rich, herbal, and delicious drink. Silky smooth, herbal, sweet, earthy. It is addictive. In a mixing glass, add 3/4 an ounce of sweet vermouth, 3/4 an ounce of the chartreuse of your choice or chartreuse imitation, and 1.5 ounces of gin. Stir with ice for 20 to 30 seconds, and then serve it up in a chilled Nick and Nora or coupe glass, and enjoy your jewel in a glass, the Bijou. My number 3 favorite gaming cocktail of all time is The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim and The Black Manhattan. Before I started playing Skyrim back in 2011, my experience with video games was very little. I played the LEGO Star Wars games as a kid, like all kids do, Battlefront 2 at my friend's house, a couple of Pokemon games on the DS and the Game Boy Advance, well, that's a throwback, and a few Nintendo 64 games at friends' houses as well. Oh, and the Wii, of course. Can't forget the Wii. Skyrim marked my first foray into gritty action-adventure games with bloody violence. Booting up Skyrim for the first time, seeing and fighting dragons, delving into Dwemer ruins, assassinating the Emperor, traveling to Sovngarde, it was like seeing color for the first time in a world of gray. Then, finding my best friends in college who loved Skyrim too, that was just the icing on the cake. The 3 of us have a history of no matter what's going on 11/11 every year, we boot up Skyrim and play it while drinking honeyed mead. I don't even know how to talk about the game. It's such a staple in gaming culture and gaming history. Everyone knows about Skyrim. Even if you've never played it, you know about Skyrim. You know what a big deal that is. It's one of, if not the largest and most expansive video game worlds with the deepest lore imaginable. I lose myself, maybe every 6 or 9 months, I go down a rabbit hole of Elder Scrolls lore. It is peak. Now, I never played Oblivion or Morrowind. I don't have the nostalgia that goes back that far, but Skyrim is a very special game to me, and it will always be one of my all-time greats. Coming in at number 3 for the cocktails, we got the Black Manhattan. Now, the difference between this and a regular Manhattan is that it uses Amaro Verna instead of sweet vermouth. What this does is it makes an already smooth and subtle drink even smoother, but simultaneously richer and deeper. The Amaro brings out caramel and the vanilla notes of bourbon or the spicier notes of the rye, if that's what you're using. I personally like using the rye. The way I make this drink is I do 3 dashes of Angostura bitters, 1 ounce of Amaro Averna, and 2 ounces of rye whiskey. Stir with ice and serve up in a chilled coupe or Nick and Nora glass, and enjoy. Now, if I was allowing recently played games in my top 5, Clair Obscura Expedition 33 would probably take the silver, maybe even the gold. And no, that is not recency bias. I genuinely believe that. I've had so much fun playing that game, maybe more than any game I've ever played. But since we're doing games from before I started this channel, the silver medal for video games goes to Dark Souls 3, and for cocktails, it's the Coffee Negroni. Okay, you know what? Forget what I said about Expedition 33. Love that game. It is great. Silver would still go to Dark Souls 3, even if I was allowing it. This game simply means too much to me. Alright, a little bit of lore, a little bit of backstory for me as a gamer. I got this game for Christmas in 2016 when it first came out for the PS4. I beat it for the first time in 2024. That's right, it took me 8 years to beat Dark Souls 3. How I got the game, I actually don't know. I have no idea how I ended up with this game. All I know is that I got it for Christmas the year it came out. I genuinely don't know how I ended up with it. The point is, I tried it, I hated it for being so difficult, put it down, and then began a pattern of picking it up again after a few years, making it a little bit further than the previous time, putting it down again, repeat. I did that constantly. That was until 2024, when I was briefly unemployed for some time, and I had a large gap of time between my old job ending and my new job starting. I had some time to kill. Plus, I wanted to play Elden Ring. I had the money for a new PC to play Elden Ring on, but I told myself I had to earn it. I told myself that I would not buy Elden Ring or a PC until I proved to myself that I could beat Dark Souls 3 and enjoy it. And I did. I made it farther than I did. I beat it. I got the DLCs. I replayed it again, beat those, and I fell in love with the Souls-like genre and gaming as a hobby. If it weren't for Dark Souls 3, I would be stuck playing Call of Duty and Destiny 2, just all the slop. If I hadn't played Dark Souls 3, this channel wouldn't even exist. So thank you, Miyazaki. Thank you, Dark Souls 3. You are my muse. For my silver medal cocktail, it goes to the Coffee Negroni. A regular Negroni is already great. I really like it. But add a little bit of coffee liqueur, and this corked up white boy is ready to murder it on the dance floor. And by the dance floor, I mean my basement den all alone because I'm hopelessly single and trapped in a void of forever being doomed from interacting with the female species, so I slowly sink deeper into a state of depression in which I can never recover from, and I just want affection. If you take the slight bitterness and richness of a Negroni and add in some coffee liqueur, what you do is create a complementary flavor to the bitter Campari and sweet vermouth. Everything gets accentuated in the drink, and the sweet coffee makes an otherwise bitter and rich drink a little more rounded, I think. If you don't like a Negroni, try this one. You might be singing a different tune. In a double rocks glass, add in 1/4 ounce of coffee liqueur, 3/4 ounce of Campari, 3/4 ounce of sweet vermouth, and 1.5 ounces of gin. Gently lower in a large rock of ice and stir for 20 to 30 seconds and enjoy your coffee Negroni. Now, Negroni purists out there might give me a little backhand for not doing equal parts, and yes, the drink is technically in its original form an equal parts drink of 1 ounce, 1 ounce, and 1 ounce of Campari, sweet vermouth, and gin. I just like it in this way. That's just what I like. I like it in the 1-1-2 formula. That's just me though, so try it yourself. See if you like it. The gold medal, the top dog, the big cheese. My favorite game and favorite cocktail of all time. If you've been watching my channel for a bit now, you'll likely already know what my favorite drink is and what my favorite game is, since I've mentioned them from time to time. My favorite cocktail of all time is an old fashioned, and my favorite video game of all time is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Sekiro was the third FromSoft entry I played, and I really only did it because I wanted to challenge myself. I hadn't really intended to play it, and I'd watched like boss rankings and stuff from creators I liked, because I was like, well, I'm never going to play the game, so might as well watch these. I didn't think it would turn into my favorite game of all time, with some of the most finely tuned and well-designed boss fights ever made, stunning visuals and presentation, an amazingly emotional and gripping story that, despite knowing each ending, still had me in tears, literal tears, from the sheer beauty of the direction, the music, the presentation. It's just amazing. The combat, to me, is absolute perfection. It's a beautiful rhythm of offense, defense, spacing, hair trigger timing, and execution that both encourages and rewards mastery. The Shinobi prosthetic is a great tool. It's super fun. It complements playstyles nicely while not being necessary or even really encouraged, but they all have their utilities. I don't use them too often, but when I do, they're so enjoyable. And of course, we can't talk about Sekiro without bringing up one of the greatest boss lineups in history, with the exception of the Guardian Ape duo fight and the folding screen monkeys, the latter of which isn't really bad, it's just kind of boring and uninteresting. Some of the greatest boss fights include Ishin the Sword Saint, Inner Father, Owl Father, Inner Genichiro, the True Monk, the Guardian Ape. Even smaller mini bosses like the Lone Shadows are just so peak. Even the reused enemy boss fights in this game are more impressive than some games' final bosses. They are so peak. I will never get tired of praising Sekiro. It is my favorite game of all time. The Old Fashioned is my tried and true, my go-to. Rich caramel vanilla notes of bourbon, smoothed out by Demerara syrup, Angostura baking spices. I like to add a little splash of cardamom to mine. We're off to the races. It's consistent, delicious, super easy to make, and that's why it's one of my favorite cocktails of all time. In a lowball glass, you add 3 dashes of Angostura bitters, 1 dash of cardamom bitters, 1/4 of an ounce of Demerara syrup, and 2 ounces of bourbon. Stir for 20 to 30 seconds, and there you go. That's it. That's how simple it is. I've made hundreds, if not thousands, of these over the years. It's a drink I think everybody should know and everybody should master it, because it's not just a drink, but it's a formula. It's a formula that is reused in countless classic cocktails. It is such a great recipe. Just give it a try. If you're not a bourbon person, yeah, you're probably not going to enjoy it. It's not for everybody. I get that. It's just my favorite. Well, there you guys go. My top 5 video games and cocktails of all time. This was a super fun video to make for me. It's like a stroll down memory lane. There are plenty of games that could have made the cut, but at the end of the day, these are my 5 favorite. Absolute certified hood classics. And hey, if you guys enjoyed, consider subscribing. I do blind playthroughs of video games while making cocktails themed around those games, their characters, and their boss fights. Right now, I'm currently going through Nier Automata for the very first time. I've never played any of the Nier games. I've never played Replicant, and Nier Automata is amazing. I love it. I go live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Twitch under The Bartender Plays, where I play games with a few friends. So if you enjoy unhinged jokes and weird tangents, you can catch me there. Until next time, drink responsibly, game often. I'll see y'all soon. Cheers.